Hi, everyone. John Connelly, president of the Twin Cities North Chamber of Commerce. And this is Chamber Check-In. Every Friday, we're here with you, sharing content and local solutions for the business community as well as our residents. Hey, we want to give a shout out to CTV North Suburbs for producing Chamber Check-In. And just a reminder, again, every Friday, 11:30, we do Chamber Check-In with all sorts of fresh content. Hey, let's get started here by bringing our first guest in, and that's Lori Mahler from Fairview, actually Cardigan Ridge here in Roseville. Lori, welcome to Chamber Check-In. Tell us briefly about your operation there.
Well, thank you, John. Cardigan Ridge is a senior housing with independent assisted living and memory care on our campus. We have been open about 4 years and are managed by Ebenezer. We love helping the residents in our community, outside and inside. We have great staff that work here, everything from our culinary team to our engineers and housekeepers, activities department. Our nursing staff is here whenever someone needs something. It's just an amazing place.
Well, great. Hey, tell us how Fairview has adapted to the current conditions moving forward. You know, it's been the last 6-7 months have been, challenging. How has your organization adapted to all the things going forward?
Well, we are following CDC guidelines and Department of Health guidelines. So we're screening everyone that comes in the building with a COVID questionnaire. We're taking temperatures. We are asking everyone to wear masks. And then when they're visitors in our building, they wear face shields. Our staff are already required to wear masks and face shields.
Got it.
We're doing outside visits for our residents. With the weather changing, we have a corporate team that's working on how that'll change and how that'll look a little differently. Plus, we have essential caregivers that families can sign up for and get approved to come in up to 3 hours a week, and it can be up to 2 family members.
Good.
That can come support their loved one.
Absolutely. So now Cardigan Ridge isn't just the one Fairview facility in our footprint. What other locations do you have within the Twin Cities North area?
We have the Pillars of Wiper Lake, which is about 5 miles from here. We have Belray, which is over in Anoka. We have Cherrywood Point on Cleveland and on Lexington. I know that there's more, but I've drawn a blank.
Well, but because of that scale, you're able to provide all sorts of resources and put your customers in the best spot possible that's convenient and the best fit for them. That's nice.
Absolutely. We have everything from co-ops at Applewood Point to our care centers throughout the Twin Cities. Got
it. Okay. So now, how is your industry, moving forward? Where do you see things in another year, Lori? It's dynamic, I know, tough to forecast, but I want to see what type of things you might see on the horizon for everyone to expect.
If I had a crystal ball, everybody would be open and we'd be able to have our guests come in and visit. But, right now we just have to take it day by day. Hopefully a year from now, we'll have a vaccine and people will have restrictions lightened. It's just so hard to tell because it's such an ebb and flow with this whole process.
Well, and isn't that the truth? That I think that's what a lot of businesses are seeing is they almost have to look at their marketing plan and business plan on a weekly basis and adapt it weekly rather than say, this quarter we're going to do this quarter we're going to do this, or this year we're going to do this. It's almost broken down into a micro level.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that is the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, and you guys are leading the way with that. Hey, with about a minute left in Chamber Check-In, Lori, tell us your thoughts moving forward. What would you like to share with our guests and our business community and audience moving forward here?
Well, right now we are able to do in-person visits along with video tours, Facebook and Google Duo visits. I would love to offer them the opportunity, if they're looking for anything for themselves or a loved one, to contact us at Cardigan Ridge, and I would love to just set up a personalized visit here with
Excellent.
them.
All right. Well, hey, Lori, thanks for sharing the story about Cardigan Ridge and Fairview in our footprint. Appreciate the content. And now we're going to move on to our next guest. That's Bruce Nustad from the Minnesota Retailers Association. The timing's great here, Bruce, because fourth quarter's starting, and that is big business for the retail industry. Am I correct?
John, you are so very correct. You're right. We're sort of hitting a big time of the year for retailers in general. That's the fourth quarter, where you see some snowfall, but most importantly, you see those holidays coming up.
Oh, don't remind me. I just got out my mittens and stuff this past weekend, and a gentle reminder of things to come. I hear you. So tell us what MNRA does in the state of Minnesota, as well as what it does for small businesses and your members.
Yeah, John. Well, and it's a model that you can appreciate. We're sort of like a chamber of commerce for retailers across the state. So we work with individual retailers, really, again, across the state of Minnesota, small, mid-sized, large, family-owned, more public companies, really a nice array. And in addition, we work with great organizations like yours, John, relative to, especially right now, what's working for retailers. And I just want to take just a really quick second to say thank you to you and the chamber, your team there. We put out a blog post a few months ago that said local chambers working with their cities are really saving Main Street. And that has been very apparent and very true during this time. And I know true of your work as well, John. So thank you for that.
Yeah, cheers. It's magnified, absolutely. Some of the efforts and some of the communication links that we've really tried to do, some of this CARES Act grants and some of those resources have really, some businesses would not have survived without some of those resources. So Thanks for the shout out. But so tell us how your retail industry, your members are adapting to the current conditions, because it's been moving and we've been kind of in this area since June where it's kind of stayed the same, but now with winter coming in, there's got to be some adaptations moving forward.
Right.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think you think about the retail cycle, and for a large number of retailers, that holiday season is really, really important. So from a context perspective, you've got an industry that was shut down largely for a while, lost some revenue, but has now made purchases hoping for a great holiday season. So my quick appeal to all those great purchasers, including you, John, with your mittens and your gloves, is, it's a great time to think about your community retailers and, think about supporting them through the holiday season. I think the holiday season will be the make and break for a lot of retailers. And, I think even, my friends at Hospitality Minnesota would tell you, even for some of those businesses, bars, restaurants, and hotels. So it is really going to be sort of a mission critical time. I think the great thing we're seeing is retailers working really hard to help customers feel comfortable in the store. And I think we'll see that continue, and hopefully we'll see sort of that consumer confidence and that shopping experience in store continue to grow as well.
Well, that's great, because, I know we had a couple of weeks ago, Angela Warner from Warner Stellian, and they're, obviously retailer, as, family-owned business here in the Twin Cities. And she identified the fact that even though some of their foot traffic's down just because of the restrictions and because of certain things, what they did was they allocated for online sales. In other words, people could shop at Warner Stellian online, they could call in. And so what they did was they redirected some of their people that handled foot traffic in their stores, they reallocated them to their online capability. And they actually were able to keep those people employed. They just repurposed them into an online. And then they kept that customer and they kept that sale going through an online tool, but then the customer service follow-up was the same. Right. So, you're finding that in the marketplace with a lot of retailers?
Yeah, we've seen just a great ingenuity at the retail level relative to really think about what does the customer want to experience, whether that's curbside or delivery. And we're seeing a tremendous amount of just straight delivery. Like, you call the store, you make your purchase online, we'll deliver it to your curbside. You don't even have to come to our curbside. So we are seeing a lot of ingenuity, and I guess a lot of flexibility on the part of, thankfully, workers and folks, like you said, that that really want to keep those jobs moving and keep those jobs intact, which we know is just mission critical for each of our communities, not only for the retailer, but for the community as well.
Right. Yeah. Well, another case study is, I ran into a florist and they actually were able to shrink their footprint down because they're doing so many more online things. They don't have to have a bigger footprint store. So they shrunk their footprint to another location and their sales never went down, which is a great story.
Right. No, and you hear so many of those stories. And again, it's all about, the great thing about Minnesota is, retail is really focused on the customer and always has been. So I think it has been possible for a lot of retailers to pivot and think, okay, if I'm the customer, what does this experience need to be today? And the customer, frankly, has responded really nicely to that as well. So, we're not quite back to where you'd see full numbers from a sales perspective, et cetera. We've got definitely some space to go. But I think, we're going to see a lot of retailers be able to weather this in the short term and hopefully in the long term as well.
Good to hear. Well, that's a good segue into, where do you see things in the next year, Bruce? What type of things should the consumer expect, besides all the online things? What do you see, when a customer walks in the store, what is the experience going to be like moving forward?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of what you see today, and that's really a double downing on communication. Like, I love it when, it used to be that you'd walk up to a storefront and there'd be a bunch of signs and you'd think to yourself, oh, that looks cluttered. Now, as a consumer today, I love the communication. I love to know exactly what I'm expecting when I'm walking in the store, or, back to Warner Stellian, what are my options for ordering online? So I think, if we could look ahead 6 months, hopefully we'll see some improved and increased capacity at retail stores. That would be very helpful. But I think we're going to see kind of this double downing on what's communication, what does it look like, how do I engage with my customer? So I think, on the upside, I think we're going to see some strong points from retailers on that, on the communication side.
Well, if my spouse is any indication, she is, getting a lot more communication through text message as well as email offers.
Right.
They are competing, for her, for her dollar, no doubt about it. So,
and ultimately the consumer wins on that. Yep.
You got that right. So, looking forward again, we talked about looking forward in the industry. Is there some technological things that the customer will see, like, paying with your phone, do things like that? What do you see moving forward, Bruce?
Yeah, I think actually, John, in addition to some of the things you see now, like contactless or touchless payments, you are going to see more of that. But I think actually you're going to see even more sort of concierge service, if you will, at your small stores up to your big stores. I think there's some technology that's getting rolled out now where maybe a retailer and a vendor will share in that experience a little bit and make it a little easier to afford some of those tools. So, back to your spouse, John, I think there's going to be some good systems where, as consumers, we want our retailers to know everything about us so that they can deliver us the products and frankly, in Minnesota, the deals that we're looking for. So I think we're going to see more and more tech focused on sort of that concierge service. What does the individual consumer want and need?
Got it. So we have about a minute left in Chamber Check-In here. Bruce, tell us your last thoughts moving forward that you want to share with businesses and the audience here.
Right. Well, and I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say to any retailers watching today, thank you so much for taking such good care of your customers. And honestly, the industry has done a phenomenal job making sure the customer feels safe, secure, and again, that things are communicated. So for my retail friends, keep that up. Don't let that fall off as COVID drags on. That's really important. And then for the consumers out there, it's now more important than ever to shop in your community and find the stores that you love and engage with them, either curbside or delivery or in person. And believe it or not, you might not think your $10, $20 purchase makes a difference, but it makes a difference to every one of those retailers in your community.
Great ending. Hey, thanks, Bruce, for joining us on Chamber Check-In. And also, Lori Mahler from Fairview, Cardigan Ridge. Lori, thanks for joining us on Chamber Check-In. Great content, everyone. Great story about how businesses are adapting to our current environment. Both of them gave great studies on that. Hey, everyone, we want to thank you for joining us. Remember, our vision is to promote business, develop leaders, and connect communities. And we appreciate CTV North Suburbs for producing Chamber Check-In. Join us again next week when we have a new guest lineup. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care.